You make $3,000 a month. Your coworker makes $3,000 a month. Same city. Same rent. Same grocery store. You have nothing saved. She has $40,000 in investments and is on track to retire at 52. The difference is not a secret stock tip or a side hustle she found on social media. It is 12 rules about what she refuses to buy, how she spends, and what she actually owns. Rules that Japanese households have been using for generations, while America perfected the art of going broke on a six-figure income. The average American personal savings rate is sitting around 3% right now. Total credit card debt in this country has passed $1.25 trillion. The average household carrying a balance owes over $11,000 at an average interest rate above 21%. That is not a financial plan. That is a subscription service to being broke. Meanwhile, Japanese households have built systems around restraint and long-term thinking that quietly produce wealth without requiring a massive salary. My name is Kay, and I grew up watching my Japanese family practice money habits that Americans call extreme, but that simply work. After living in both countries and watching people earn the same income but end up in completely different financial positions, I started breaking down exactly what creates that gap. These are the 12 rules. Rule 1. Touch every dollar before you spend it. Japan is still one of the most cash-reliant developed nations on the planet. Walk into a convenience store in Tokyo, a noodle shop in Osaka, a bookstore in Kyoto, and you will see people paying with physical bills and coins. This is the country that builds robots and leads the world in technology. They use cash on purpose. Here is why it works. When you tap a card or wave your phone at a terminal, your brain barely registers the transaction. Numbers move from one invisible account to another invisible account. You feel nothing. But when you pull a 10,000 yen note out of your wallet and hand it to someone, your brain processes that as a real loss. You physically feel the money leaving your hand. That friction works in your favor. Americans have spent decades engineering every possible form of friction out of spending. One-click ordering. Auto-pay subscriptions. Tap to pay. Buy now, pay later. Every single innovation makes it easier to spend money and harder to notice you are spending it. That is not a coincidence. That is a business model, and you are the product. I ran this experiment myself. 1 month. All discretionary spending and cash only. Groceries, dining, entertainment, everything except fixed bills. I withdrew my monthly budget on the first day and put it in an envelope. When the cash was gone, spending was done. That month I spent 23% less than my average. Not because I was suffering. Because I was finally paying attention. This week, withdraw your weekly discretionary budget in cash. Use it for everything except rent and utilities. When you can physically see the stack getting thinner day by day, your decisions change. Not because you suddenly developed discipline. Because your brain finally has the information it needs to make good choices. Rule 2. Never fill the cup to the rim. In Okinawa, the island chain famous for having some of the longest living people on Earth, there is a simple principle practiced at every meal. Eat until you are 80% full, then stop. Not because you ran out of food. Because enough is enough. Americans eat until they are stuffed, feel terrible, then eat again 4 hours later to feel better. The exact same pattern shows up with money. Spend until the account is empty. Feel anxious. Payday arrives and do the entire cycle again. Maxing out is the default setting. Japanese households flip this completely. If you can afford a $1,500 apartment, rent the $1,200 one. If your food budget could stretch to $800 a month, spend $650. If you could finance a $40,000 car, buy the $32,000 one. Always leave margin. Always keep a buffer. Never operate at full capacity because life is going to bump into you and everything spills. My father never spent more than 75% of his paycheck on all expenses combined. The other 25% went to savings and investments before he even touched it. Americans hear that and think it sounds impossible. My father heard that Americans spend 100% of their income and thought that sounded insane. Here is the math. If you save 20% of your income consistently, you can retire in roughly 31 years of working. Save 30% and that drops to about 24 years. Save 50% and you are looking at around 15 years. The gap between retiring at 67 and retiring in your early 50s comes down to spending 80% of what you earn instead of 105%. Rule 3. Buy it once or do not buy it at all. Japanese consumers have a reputation for being obsessively quality conscious. Walk through a department store in Ginza and you will see leather goods, kitchen tools, and clothing built to last decades. This comes down to simple math. My mother has owned the same set of Japanese kitchen knives for over 20 years. She sharpens them regularly. They perform better today than the day she bought them. Total cost across 2 decades, roughly $300. My American neighbor went through 4 knife sets in the same period. Total cost around $450. And every single set performed worse than my mother's from day one. Americans are addicted to cheap. Dollar stores. Fast fashion. Disposable everything. The sticker price looks great. The cost per use is a disaster. A $40 pair of shoes that falls apart in 3 months costs you $160 per year. A $120 pair that lasts 3 years costs you $40 per year. You spent less by spending more. The math is simple. The disposable economy just does not want you to do it. Before your next purchase, calculate cost per use. Price divided by estimated number of uses. A $200 jacket you wear 150 times costs you $1.33 per wear. A $50 jacket you wear 20 times costs you $2.50 per wear. The cheap option is actually the expensive one. Stop looking at price tags. Start looking at lifespans. Rule 4. Shrink your space and grow your net worth. The average Japanese home is about 1,000 square feet. The average American home is about 2,300 square feet. Japan has plenty of space. Smaller living is a deliberate cultural choice. Smaller spaces mean lower rent, lower utilities, lower maintenance, fewer things to fill them, and less time cleaning. Americans treat square footage like a scorecard. Bigger house means bigger success, except the bigger house also brings a bigger mortgage, bigger property taxes, bigger heating bills, bigger insurance premiums, and a growing collection of furniture you bought just to fill rooms you barely enter. You are not living in those rooms. You are paying for them to sit empty. My grandmother lived in a 2-bedroom apartment her entire adult life. She could have afforded something larger. She chose not to. When she passed, she left her children an inheritance that shocked the entire family. Not because she earned a fortune, because she kept one. If you are paying for space you do not use every day, you are subsidizing emptiness. Downsize by even 1 bedroom and invest the monthly difference. $300 a month redirected into index funds for 20 years at 7% grows to over $156,000. That is the price of a guest room nobody sleeps in. Rule 5. Master the packed lunch and watch thousands reappear. In Japan, bringing lunch from home is completely normal. Office workers, students, construction crews, everyone carries a packed meal. home prepared, portioned properly, balanced, and roughly a tenth the cost of buying lunch at a restaurant. The average American spends over $3,750 per year eating lunch out on workdays. That is about $15 per meal, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. A homemade packed lunch costs around $3 to $4 in ingredients. Same nutrition, better portion control. Annual savings of roughly $2,800 to $3,000 every single year. My wife prepares meals on Sunday evenings for the entire week. Rice, proteins, vegetables, all portioned into containers. Total weekly food cost for 2 people, roughly $70. Our American friends spend triple that and eat worse. They are not lazier than us. They just never built the system. Building the system is the point. This week, prepare 3 lunches at home. Just 3. Track how much you save versus buying. Multiply that number by 52. That annual total you just calculated is how much you have been quietly donating to restaurant owners every year instead of putting it toward your own financial future. Invest that $240 a month for 20 years at 7%, and you are looking at roughly $124,000. That is a retirement fund built entirely on the decision to open your refrigerator instead of your delivery app. Rule 6. Question the car before it drains everything. In Tokyo, most people do not own cars. They take trains, buses, walk, or bike, not because they are broke. Because the train is faster, cheaper, and does not cost $18,000 a year in payments, insurance, fuel, maintenance, parking, registration, and depreciation. The average American car payment alone is over $700 per month. Add insurance, gas, maintenance, and all the hidden costs, and you are easily spending $1,500 a month on a metal box that loses value while you sleep. That is $18,000 a year on transportation that is actively making you poorer. Japanese families who do own cars tend to buy small, efficient vehicles and keep them for 10 to 15 years. Meanwhile, Americans finance 72-month loans on trucks they use for grocery runs. Not everyone in America can ditch their car. The infrastructure is different, and I understand that. But you can question whether you need the car you currently have. Could you downgrade to something smaller and more efficient? Could your household go from 2 vehicles to 1? Could you move closer to work? Every dollar you redirect from car expenses into investments is a dollar that works for your retirement instead of sitting in your driveway losing value. Rule 7. Make your money invisible. In Japan, displaying wealth is considered tasteless. My relatives who are legitimately wealthy drive modest cars, wear simple clothes, and live in homes that look exactly like their neighbors. The entire concept of buying something expensive specifically so strangers can see you own it is baffling to most Japanese families. Americans do the opposite. Financed luxury cars, designer logos, oversized houses in expensive zip codes. All of it purchased on credit to project an image of success to people who do not care about you. The irony is brutal. The people who look richest in America are often the most broke. And the people who look completely ordinary are quietly sitting on portfolios they never mention. I had a coworker in America who leased a luxury sedan, wore designer everything, and ate at expensive restaurants every weekend. He once asked me for $100 until payday. Meanwhile, my uncle in Japan wears the same 3 styles of shirts, drives an 8-year-old Honda, and has more money in investments than most Americans will earn in their entire careers. Every dollar you spend on looking wealthy is a dollar that cannot make you actually wealthy. Your net worth should be a private number, not a public performance. If you are finding value in these rules, hit subscribe. I cover Japanese money principles every week that translate to real financial progress in America. Now let us talk about the system that makes all of this automatic. Rule 8. Pay your future self before you pay anyone else. The typical American approach to saving is to put away whatever is left after spending. The problem is that after spending, there is never anything left. Japanese households reverse the entire equation. Savings come out first. Spending gets whatever remains. This is not a subtle adjustment. It is the difference between building wealth and building a collection of excuses. The traditional Japanese method uses physical envelopes. Income arrives, savings envelope gets filled immediately, then fixed costs, then groceries, then discretionary spending. If the fun money envelope runs dry on the 25th of the month, you eat rice and vegetables from the pantry for 5 days. You do not touch the savings envelope. Ever. My parents treated their savings contribution like rent. Non-negotiable. My father used to say the savings envelope is a bill from your 70-year-old self, and that person does not accept late payments. Americans rely on willpower to save. Willpower collapses every single time. Systems do not. Set up automatic transfers on payday. 20% minimum. Before you see the money. Before you can rationalize spending it. Rule 9. Protect your earning decades, not just your paycheck. There is a deep cultural tradition in Japan of finding work that aligns with what you are good at, what you enjoy, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. When those 4 things overlap, you have found something worth building a career around. When they do not, you are just trading time for money until you burn out. Americans chase salary. Highest offer wins. Take the promotion even if you hate the work. Grind until your body and mind break, then switch industries and start over. If you hate your job so badly that you quit at 42 and spend 2 years recovering, you just lost 2 years of compounding that nothing can replace. Japanese workers who find meaningful work tend to stay in it longer because they want to be there. The result is 30 to 40 years of consistent income, consistent saving, consistent compounding. Americans who chase pure salary often get 15 intense years followed by burnout and financial resets that wipe out everything they built. Your retirement timeline depends on how many months you can sustain saving, not just how much you save per month. Burning out at 40 and taking a lower-paying job to preserve your sanity costs you more in the long run than taking slightly less money at 28 to do something you actually want to do every morning. Rule 10. Let the calendar save money for you. Japan has a deep cultural connection to seasonal cycles. Cherry blossom season, rainy season, autumn harvests, winter preparations, and that connection to timing carries real financial weight. Japanese families buy produce in season because it is cheaper, fresher, and better quality. Strawberries in winter cost triple what they cost in spring. Winter coats in September cost twice what they cost in February clearance. Americans buy whatever they want, whenever they want it. Imported fruit in January. Swimsuits the week before vacation at full retail price. Convenience pricing is a wealth tax on impatience. My grandmother planned her household purchases like a military campaign. Winter clothing bought in March clearance sales at 70% off. Vegetables preserved in autumn for winter meals. Rice bought in bulk during harvest season. Nothing urgent. Nothing impulsive. Everything timed for maximum value. Seasonal buying requires one thing that Americans actively resist: planning ahead. If you know you will need a winter coat, buy it in February when stores are desperate to clear inventory and prices drop 50 to 70%. If you know you will need a swimsuit, buy it in September when retailers are making room for fall collections. The calendar is one of the most effective financial tools you will ever find, and it costs absolutely nothing to use. Rule 11. Go deep instead of going wide. Japan has a long tradition of mastering one craft deeply, Whether it is preparing sushi, building furniture, or forging steel, there is cultural respect for spending years or even decades getting extraordinary at one thing. Depth commands premium pricing. Always has. Americans worship the side hustle. Drive for a rideshare app. Sell products online. Freelance on weekends. Flip items from garage sales. Hustle culture celebrates being busy across 5 income streams, each one paying next to nothing per hour when you factor in time, supplies, and the mental cost of constantly switching between tasks. Meanwhile, the Japanese sushi chef who spent 15 years mastering rice preparation charges $400 per meal and has a 6-month waiting list. The woodworker who spent decades perfecting joinery sells pieces for prices that make mass manufacturers uncomfortable. That is what depth produces. If you took the 8 hours per week you currently spread across 3 side hustles and invested them in deeply mastering one marketable skill, your income ceiling rises dramatically. A freelance designer making $50 an hour who becomes an expert brand strategist charges $200 an hour. Same person, same industry, completely different depth. Mastery compounds the same way interest does. Rule 12. Teach your children about money before advertising teaches them about wanting. In Japan, children receive small gifts of money during New Year celebrations, but it is not free cash with no strings attached. It comes with lessons. How to save a portion. How to think about spending decisions. How to make money last. Japanese children open savings accounts as young as 6 or 7. Parents walk them through deposits, watch the balance grow together, and explain how money multiplies over time when you leave it alone. American children learn about money from advertisements. Buy this toy. Eat this cereal. Want this phone. By the time they turn 18, they understand consumer desire perfectly and financial management not at all. Then they get a credit card on their first day of college, and their real financial education begins through debt and interest payments. My parents gave me an allowance starting at age 8 with one rule. 30% goes to savings before I could spend a single dollar. 30% went into a jar that we took to the bank every month. The remaining 70% was mine. By the time I was 14, I had saved over $600. More importantly, I had the habit. The saving happened automatically. The spending happened with intention. If you have children, start today. Give them 3 jars. Save, spend, give. Every dollar they receive goes through the system. They will fight it at first. Then they will watch their savings grow. Then they will start guarding that savings jar like it is the most important thing they own. Because it is. You are not teaching them about money. You are teaching them about freedom. Smart Sam adopted these 12 rules over 3 years. He started using cash for daily purchases. He downsized his apartment. He built the packed lunch system. He made his money invisible. He applied the 80% ceiling to every budget category and invested the difference. In 8 years, Smart Sam has $240,000 in investments, 0 consumer debt, and a realistic retirement projection of age 49. He earns the same salary as his coworkers. He just keeps more of it. Broke Brian watched this video, thought it was interesting, and changed absolutely nothing. Still taps his card without thinking. Still maxes out every paycheck. Still finances things to impress people he does not even like. Still eats out 5 days a week because building a system sounded like too much effort. Same income, same city, same opportunities. Completely different financial trajectory.